That's weird. That's weird. Kind of weirding me out.
You are a sad, strange little man.
Crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy.
Isn't that weird?
That's weird, man.
It's strange.
What's up, campers? Welcome back to episode 188 of Camp Strange. I am your camp counselor, Alex Tobin.
And I'm your other camp counselor, me.
And we're back to bring the spooky, wacky, weird, strange, and shrunken?
Uh-oh.
But before we get into these longer stories, we got to catch you up on any of the weird news you may have missed. I clicked a story that I thought was going to be a lot funnier.
Yeah.
Because it says, I mean, this is not a funny title, but it says, 31-year-old man shot in face after refusing to give man some potato chips.
It's kind of, I mean, yeah, I see where you're going with that. The potato chip part's funny.
But then I just read the article and it said the guy was shot in the face, and it doesn't say, and it says it was over potato chips, so there's nothing funny about it.
Does it say anything like what type of chips?
That's the question.
Are we going back into chip talk?
That's why I brought it up, because 31-year-old man, shooting happened at 9 p.m. outside of Lusty's Adventures. What is that?
Lusty's Adventures?
On Stanton Ave. You guys know where that is?
That must be like a porn shop or something.
Yeah, Akron, Ohio, I think.
Lusty's...
Okay, this might be getting good.
Lusty's Adventures?
Yeah, Lusty's is Lusty apostrophe S.
Lusty's Adventure. Here is their Instagram account.
But a 42-year-old man asked for some potato chips, and then he said no, and the guy shot him in the face. But he was injured. He didn't die, which is good. But they arrested the 42-year-old guy after he boarded a bus. They got him on the bus.
So wait, did he die?
No, the guy was injured, transported non-life-threatening injuries, but they got the guy who shot him in the face after he got on the bus. That's why you never get on the bus.
Yeah. So this is saying it's a sports bar, but it looks like it's a strip club.
Yeah, that's so the wives don't catch any, you know.
It's a nightclub, but night is spelled Nite.
Oh no.
You know
That's
that
not
means.
good. Yeah. Okay, but that's not. I was gonna skip that one because I found a better one. And
Well,
it has
you
to do.
said it, so you didn't
Sorry.
skip it.
I didn't skip it, but this is more of a PSA because, or I should say PNSA, because risk of penile fractures rises at Christmas. Doctor finds.
Whoa, people getting freaky for the holidays.
Yeah, so apparently there's a significant increased risk of penile fractures due to injuries occurred during wild sex around Christmas time, particularly in positions where you're not in direct eye contact, such as reverse cowgirl.
Is that what it says?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you fix a penis fracture?
The fractures are often heralded by an audible crack. Ow! Ow! Oh. Followed by severe pain, rapid loss of erection, and severe swelling and bruising. When patient presents to their doctor, their penis often looks like an eggplant. Okay, that explains the emoji.
Well, I'm assuming that's based on the color.
And the size, and the green thing at the top.
Yeah.
But
now the green part's actually at the bottom. That's the ooze.
Don't say ooze. All of our penises are kind of like, you remember those tires that, like, if you drove over a nail, it didn't pop the tire and like green ooze filled the hole? You remember that from like the 90s? I would see commercials.
I think you're confused. I think you would put the green ooze into the hole post puncture.
I remember something about green ooze, like them running over a nail, and then like green ooze like filling the hole.
Yeah,
like,
I think
like
that was
green ooze in the tire or something.
No, I don't think it was in the tire. I could be wrong, but I thought it was like it came with a little syringe that you'd poke in and fill her up.
You could be right. Well, I'm just saying that my penis is filled with green ooze from the 90s. So. But no,
boy.
but so when they say significant rise, I have to, don't be afraid, everybody, because it says that hospital data for 3,421 men who sustained penile fractures. Oh, that's in Germany.
The Germans be freaky though.
But
With their
so
schnitzel.
only 3,500 from 2005 to 2021. So, they're not as common as you would think. But it says if every day was like Christmas, 43% more penile fractures would have occurred in Germany from 2005 on.
Ooh.
So it seems like this is a German problem, not my problem.
I ain't gonna worry about it.
Germans, flimsy penis people. That's what the UN did to them after World War II. They're like, okay, everybody line up. We make your penis a little bit more flimsy.
They took all the structure out. It's like a paper kite.
They crawled underneath all their houses and they removed the foundation.
Yeah. They just took a sledgehammer and knocked them out. I found a little bit here that says prompt surgical repair is typically recommended. Left untreated, a penis fracture might result in a curved penis or permanently unable to keep an erection firm enough for intercourse.
Oh,
but they didn't really tell me how they fix it. What are they doing that surgery? Just packing peanuts in there?
2 popsicle sticks.
A nice little splint.
Yeah. Oh, toothpicks for you.
Little crutch.
I don't know. That seems like a. I'd be too embarrassed to show my eggplant to a nice doctor.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, I'm gonna suffer in silence, and then just big old red stain in the front of my pants for the rest of my life. You know how I roll. Constantly
bleeding.
Yeah, it's fun. Anyway, so those are my 2 stories. I had one more, but I don't want to. You go.
All right. It happened. Kid Rock says he's done boycotting Bud Light.
Okay, I saw that. Was he still? Were people still doing that?
I don't think so. I don't think that lasted very long. They can't keep away from the delicious Bud Light.
It's
and I like that he addressed this just because I remember like 2 weeks ago a photo of him drinking like a Bud Light at the airport surfaced and people were making fun of him. So then he decided to address it. He said that Bud Light deserved a black eye and they got one, but continued on saying, so do I want to hold their head underwater and drown them because they had a mistake? No, I think they got the message.
It's very weird. I know we've talked about the Bud Light situation, but
I had to bring it up because we've talked about it.
No. I'm glad you did because as more time passes, I kind of keep coming back to the fact that like realizing that these people were mad because they thought that like Bud Light was trying to. They're like Bud Light is promoting trans ideologies to people, and first off, that's kind of dumb to get mad about. Yeah. But then if you really look at the situation, they literally made like customizable cans for like 50 people, and one of those people happened to be a trans content creator.
Yeah,
and they blew it up into you're trying to promote. I'm like, what do you like? What the? This is what you guys freaked out about? Like,
yeah. I don't know. I saw Post Malone have his can, and I wanted to get face tats. Maybe I'm just, peer pressure or something, but
yeah, it's very strange. But you know what? At least Kid Rock is back to making really good music. I love Kid.
Yeah. Well, when I was living in LA, they had Rams, the football team, Bud Lights, and I drank about 12 of them, and then I started headbutting everything. So it could be real.
Oh yeah,
kept running my head through the drywall.
Yeah. Well, that's because you're
the rage,
your alcoholism. That just happens if you drink any beers.
Yeah,
right.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I drank Coors Light, and all of a sudden I'm loading up the old rifle with silver bullets.
Exactly. Okay, you're gonna be on a list somewhere. You're like.
No, I'm looking for werewolves, baby.
Well, speaking of silver bullets, 82-year-old woman calls police on caretaker threatening to kill her. Police compliment caretaker on firearms and leave. Caretaker kills woman 4 hours later.
I'm pretty sure that was her husband. I've seen the video of the police video of them like at the house, and she's like, he's gonna kill me, and he's like, yeah, I am, and then the cops are like, haha, see you later, old people.
Yeah, so it wasn't her husband. She's had
Maybe
my
I'm
God,
thinking of
the
I might
ads.
be thinking of a completely different situation too.
No. Oh yeah, maybe. But I mean that sounds kind of similar. So in New Mexico, this woman, Junane Fennell. Junane. Anyway, so she didn't even call the cops. The guy, her caretaker, who had been caring for her for the last several years, he called the cops because she was like freaking out and being like blah blah blah, and then the cops showed up and they're like, oh, you're the firearms guy, because she's like, oh, he's gonna kill me, so he's like, she's freaking out saying I'm gonna kill her. So he said, you're the firearms guy, and officer asked, and he says, oh yeah, and he goes, nice. And the guy goes, they're loaded, they're ready to go. And he goes, we don't need to see them, the officer said. There's one probably right there in that case, and I see another one over there. And then the officer continues saying, I like folks that have guns, since he is a gun owner himself, the officer. And then basically it ended with the officer, one of the caretaker going, what'd you say to the Anyway, it doesn't fucking matter, because basically the guy's like, oh yeah, the cops showed up, and they're like, oh cool, you seem chill, you have guns and stuff, and he's like, yeah, she thinks I'm gonna kill her. And then she like, the police leave, and he just like shoots her. Apparently he just shot her 4 hours later. The neighbor man was screaming for help and told us to call the police. He says he's killed her. Yep. So the neighbor called the police and was like, yeah, remember that guy you just came and checked on? That gun you didn't take away from him, he killed that woman. So
I mean, I'm gonna say something that I'd probably be judged for, but I mean, like,
I can't wait for this.
you're the caretaker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you want this lady to die.
Mm-hmm.
Just leave. You don't.
That's
you
a good
don't have
point.
to shoot her. You can just like leave. You know.
Or just like give her like a full, like a sugar cookie. Because this woman does not look like she has her blood sugar under control. So I mean, you could have definitely. She's in a constant state of laying down, and she looks like she's drinking a soda with a straw from a laying down position.
Mm-hmm.
That can't be good, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a very health conscious person.
But basically, yeah, she's dead. The guy shot her. It's not funny. It's not. This isn't funny, guys. Stop laughing.
Quit trying to make it funny.
It's 80. 82's long, right?
Oh, that's plenty enough.
Yeah, there was any quality of life there. I don't. That's fucked up. No, no one deserves.
Just put the shovel down.
But the guy, it seemed like he threatened the cops too.
It's a good move.
Oh no, the woman said, "What did you say?" And the guy said, "I said you're fine until I kill you." And then the officer said, "All right, he's threatened to do that." What? Get out of here now, Cardenas said to the officers. Go away. So the caretaker was like, "Get the fuck out of here," to the cops.
Yeah, I want to shoot her in peace and quiet.
Yeah, and then the neighbors called and they're like, "Yeah, he killed her," and you're like, "Oh shit." Yeah. So I don't know. You got to have patience to be taking care of patients. Yeah, saying?
Yeah.
Yarming.
All right, I'm going to do my next news story.
Yeah, that wasn't funny.
Now, woman pretends to be Waffle House worker for hours to steal cash, police say.
Oh, that's kind of a cool. She went undercover.
I mean, she worked a shift. Give her the money, you know?
How? So she would just like walk. No one. You know what? I think there's a lot of turnover at Waffle Houses. Yeah. So I don't think that, like, I was going to be like, would the workers kind of understand that this was a new person?
Yeah. I mean, it's easy. Just be like, oh, yeah, I started today.
And they're like, okay. And they're like, God, she's the best waitress we've had in a while. And then all of a sudden, all of their tips were gone.
So this entire article is 6 sentences, so I'm just going to read it.
Yeah.
This is in Riverdale, Georgia. Riverdale police are looking for a woman who they say pretended to be a Waffle House employee and got away with cash. The sneaky theft happened at a Waffle House location off of 6500 block of Highway 85 on December 12th. Investigators say the woman working 2 hours at the restaurant before opening the cash register and stealing an undetermined amount of money. Officials...
She worked for 2 hours?
Yeah. Officials shared the surveillance photo of the woman who is seen wearing the chain's trademark hat. If you have any information that could help identify the woman, call Riverdale detectives at 770-996-3382. That's all we got.
Another question I have is like, it's becoming... This economy is really not for robbers anymore, I tell you. It's becoming harder and harder to have a profession as a robber.
Yeah.
Because, one, my question is... that wasn't my question. But my other question is, what businesses still handle
Hire?
that much yeah, that too. Fuck, now you fucked me up. Dealing that much cash?
Yeah, Waffle House.
Do you think?
Yeah.
People don't pay in cash at like diners and stuff, right?
Oh,
Anywhere.
Yeah. Waffle House.
I feel like
Waffle House is its own breed of like...
Those are people
places.
who don't believe it. Like if you eat at Waffle House, you don't believe in credit cards. Like
No, not necessarily, but it's just kind of a zoo there, man. I've only eaten at one once. It was amazing. I loved it. And it was like 4 a.m., but they're an interesting place.
My other question is, if you had to rob a place, you personally, that would like have the best returns and lowest risk for like cash wise, like where are you
Pot shop.
where you do pot shop or pawn shop?
Pot shop. Dispensary.
Yeah, but I feel like they have their guard up. They got that security guy there.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying. I think that's a place where people pay with cash the most.
Yeah, I mean, even gas stations, I feel like probably not as cash flush.
Nah, I doubt it.
Yeah, and you get weed too. That's cool. You can sell that for
I
money.
get so much weed, man.
Yeah, if you rob in the gas station, you gotta be running around with all those heavy bangs in your pants,
And then you got to get a barrel of gasoline to roll down the road.
I love you got to stand there and fill it up with like the gun pointed at him.
Yeah.
I don't do the gun. I do the hand in the front of my sweatshirt.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I would probably just bring a big knife. And you don't want to be shooting a gun around gasoline,
Well, here's the thing. If you have any kind of weapon, that's aggravated assault.
Yeah.
So you're better off just putting a little comb in the front of your pocket sweatshirt, and you point the comb at me. I got a gun. So at least if you get arrested, you're like, it's not aggravated, which takes time off your... This is the kind of questions you have to be asking if you're robbing people. Like, do you bring a gun? Because if I get caught, like, I get more prison time. But if you're going in with a comb or you're afraid you're going to get caught, then you weren't even committed to the robbery in the first place, right? You think you're going to fail.
Yeah.
You can't go in with that mindset.
Well, the one problem about your little idea is that I'm considered a weapon just as a person.
Oh, shit. You're right,
so
actually.
Can't really get around that,
Yeah, that's true. When I'll just drop my pants and they're like, what is that? That has to be a weapon. And I'd be like, it's actually an eggplant. And they're like, yep, it's purple and crooked.
It's dripping chemicals, sir.
I go, that green. If you touch the green ooze, have you seen Alien? It's acid.
Yeah. That's why I got all these holes in my pants.
They're like, this robber had acid. Yeah, it leaked right through his pants. Where was this coming from?
That'd be a fun robbery, just slinging acid around.
Walk in with like a bug sprayer full of acid
Nah,
and
you
just spray.
You got to get like a paint bucket full of acid, and then you get a little ladle. And you swing that ladle around.
You know what I would do? I would go in.
Uh-huh.
Swing a ladle is pretty good. Swing a ladle. That's a good country song name. But I would go in, rob the place,
Uh-huh.
and as I was leaving,
Yeah.
I would put hot lava on the floor.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so they couldn't follow
Like in
me
the
out of
doorway?
the store. Yeah, no, yeah, I'd make
Yeah.
like a nice trail from like behind the counter, so the guy's like, I can't even get out. I put a little on the counter, so if he thought he was like gonna jump over,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a good idea.
it's a really good idea.
What do you keep
Do
your
you know
lava in?
I don't know. What do those guys in the silver suits like keep their lava in when they take it back to their lab?
Like burlap
Lunchbox?
sacks? I think it's like a
Yeah.
burlap sack.
I think it's like a thermos of some sort, right?
Yeah.
Where you hear the lava guys coming for you. You hear something?
Yeah. I think it's just the voices. Continue.
Yeah, I'd get like a. You ever seen those guys like getting lava? God,
Yeah.
I've never seen anything look tastier than a little dollop of lava.
I'd love to cook a pizza on lava, you know?
Oh,
I know it can't touch. I'm being realistic about this. Like, you only got to get it like 5 feet away from the lava for like 2 seconds, and then it's cooked.
you think it's 2 seconds? How long do you have to leave a DiGiorno there?
Nah, I think a DiGiorno. You find a nice flat lava rock, you slap that bad boy on for 27 seconds, but you got to keep it moving or else it's going to crisp up. You got to start off by you got to lay down a good little bed of cornmeal. Cornmeal and flour, good
I
mix.
knew you were gonna say cornmeal. Wait, are you letting the metal touch the lava?
There's
or are you
no
just
metal.
Hovering
There's
it?
no
Are you-
metal.
But what are you holding it over the top of the lava with? You have to have a pizza pan.
No.
Like
I'm saying you
know,
find
like
a good flat lava rock, you slap down
a pizza stone.
30% flour, 70% cornmeal.
You keep saying lava rock. I don't know what a lava rock
it's
is.
rocks that touch lava. You don't know what lava rock is?
No, lava is liquid. It's not rock form yet. If it's rock
Yeah.
form,
What do you
it's
think's
cool.
built? You think it's just hovering there on its
No,
own? It's in a thing of lava rock, man.
No, you had the fucking pizza on like the stick that they take the lava. I mean, that they take the pizza out of the oven. You know, like with the wood stick
No, I'm
with
just
like
grabbing it with my fingers.
No, you can't do that. And if lava is
will.
rock form, it's too cool. I need to be as hot as possible.
Yeah,
It needs
no,
to be flowing a little bit.
I'm not okay. I think where we got mixed up, I think where our wires got crossed was I'm not putting it in the lava.
Okay.
I'm simply putting it in proximity of the lava.
Oh, you're just putting it like next to a lava
Oh,
flow?
if you put it on the lava, it's immediately engulfed in flames. You can't cook anything on lava. It has to
Yeah,
just be close to the lava.
Yeah, but you can't leave it just like close because that means one side of the pizza is getting
That's
hotter
what
than
I'm
the other.
saying.
You have
You
to
gotta keep it
hover it over
moving.
the top.
Gotta
We
keep it
Oh,
moving.
you're spinning the pizza?
Yeah, it's a pizza pie.
On a lazy Susan?
No, the lazy Susan would be engulfed in flames. That would no chance. You'd have to be consistently dousing it with water while it's close to the flame.
Now you have soggy pizza.
Yeah, one time I was in San Francisco and I went to a restaurant that grilled burgers on lava rocks, and I got violently ill. I'm not making that up.
It doesn't make sense. None of what you just said makes sense.
You can ask my buddy Thomas McGee. We went and got burgers on lava rocks, and I got very sick.
What do you mean they cooked it on lava rocks?
Yeah, they slapped it on lava rock.
That's not how that works.
It is, man. Look it up. You can find Lava Rock Burgers, San Francisco. Hold on, let me open up my browser.
They are nowhere close to lava.
Lava Rock Burgers, San Francisco.
I would have like
Wow.
my
Wow Burgers and Grill.
don't eat there apparently.
I got violently ill.
So my technique is the fucking stick you take the pizza out of the oven with, and I would just get along like that thing.
Oh,
and
wait.
put them.
I was wrong. It's Moe's Grill in San Francisco.
Okay, well don't eat at Moe's then, or at least don't eat the burger on the lava rocks.
Don't ask for it rare.
Anyway, anyway, I just hold the pizza over the top of the lava. I feel like that's a better technique.
Oh, good luck to the bottom, to the tops of your hands. You fucking
Okay,
idiot.
do you ever make a s'more asshole? You could
No.
you could adjust. You could
That's
adjust.
on a stick.
Yeah, I'm just saying you could move it away from the flame or the lava so you don't get as burnt of a bottom, and you could do a slow process cook.
I'm going to have to bring all this up to my sister-in-law.
Is she a lava expert?
She's a volcanologist.
You made that up.
I didn't.
Is she a Star Trek person? Is that like a Vulcan?
No, she studies volcanoes.
I know, I'm fucking with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't think science is ready for this question, so you could bring it to her. And see if they
You
figured
know what?
this
We
out.
got Google. How long
it take to cook a pizza on the lavas? How long pepperoni lava cook pizza San Francisco? Just type in all those keywords.
lava pizza. Oh no, that's a pizza. It's called lava. Place the pizza on the lava stone and let it cook for 3 to 5 minutes.
Shut the what? I still don't know what a lava stone is. I know
How do
you
you
made
not
that
know what
up.
lava stone is?
I
Man?
know what
Lava
lava
rocks.
rock is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same fucking
cook,
thing.
You cook nothing on those. They're porous.
Yeah, it scrapes all the burn off.
You put them in your front yard.
Yeah. You can cook on them.
How do you cook a burger on a pile of front yard rocks?
You heat them up. He's got to find a flat one.
Okay. This conversation is done.
Is it?
I think.
Google said it prompted for me to search lava rock restaurants near me. And I clicked on it, and the top one is a restaurant in Hawaii. Pretty sure San Francisco's closer, but that's fine.
I don't even know what a lava rock restaurant is.
Yeah, they cook everything on the lava rock, dude. I don't know how many times I got to explain this to you.
Please send me a picture of what this contraption looks like. Are you literally just putting like a raw burger patty on a pot
Slap
full
it
of
on.
stones?
Yeah, there's fire underneath it.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, well,
Does it make it
sounds
taste
like your
better?
problem. No, it makes you violently ill.
I only bring my worst enemies to that restaurant, and I go, hum, and I hold the burger on the side of my face, make it
Yeah.
look like I'm eating it.
Throw it over your shoulder.
Hum. Throw it over your shoulder. Okay, I think we solved this mystery.
The dogs
Anyway.
love that restaurant.
If I'm ever near a lava flow, I'm definitely bringing a pizza,
Yeah.
not a lava stone, but maybe we should try both, actually.
Yeah.
I'll let you spin your pizza, and I'll cook
Taste
mine on
test.
top. Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, okay, should we get into these stories?
I guess.
Okay.
I'm kind of just heated now, you know?
I'm kind of just thinking about pizza on the lava stone now.
I feel like I need to get some fresh air.
He leaves the house, runs to the airport, buys a ticket to Hawaii immediately. Okay, let's get into it. Now, David, we all know that Christmas is coming up, and we have to find that very special gift to get for our loved ones that just says, I really went the extra mile. Now, in today's world, it might be a stand mixer or even a little painting off Etsy of their dog dressed as a Victorian-era woman of the night. You know, everyone has those.
Yeah.
But back in the 1930s, we didn't have such luxuries. So we had to go deep into the jungle to find the best little gizmos and gadgets the world had to offer. Now, although what I am speaking of are religious symbols that represent victory, prowess, and power to certain cultures, the ones outside of those cultures only saw them as souvenirs and oddities. But enough of this long-winded intro as I shrink my paragraph down in order to get to the history and process of the shrunken head.
Ah.
So Amanda, one of our camp strangers, DM'd us and requested it, and I was like, "Hey, that's actually kind of interesting. I do not know how that makes shrunken heads either." And
It's just vinegar, right?
Yeah, it's mostly vinegar,
Yeah.
but it's also featured as a present in The Nightmare Before Christmas.
I would love a shrunken head.
So I found it very apropos to do that. I think the Shrunken Head chases a child through the room.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up eBay real quick.
There's a lot of fake ones out there. I mean, we'll get.
No, I want a real one.
Yeah, well, we'll get it. We'll get into that too. I'm trying to find one. But there's a nice little, you're gonna give shit away. I know what you're gonna start googling and find shit. And
No, I'm just trying to figure out how much it costs to get a real shrunken head.
They're illegal.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, I mean, you're selling a person's head, so
Yeah, whatever. They're dead.
okay. So let's get into it. So when Westerners finally made, did I?
Ooh, $50,000 to $60,000.
Oh, that's probably a real one.
Yeah.
Shit. So when Westerners finally made their way deep into the jungles of the Amazon, more specifically the area between northern Peru and eastern Ecuador, I always thought like shrunken heads for some reason were. I mean, I think voodoo, from Africa or voodoo. Exactly. I thought they were like the predominant ones because of. I think I was guessing because of
Media.
New Orleans. Just like New Orleans in general, they're just like, oh yeah, we got like shrunken heads and shit, and you're just like, oh, that must come from like African culture, which I think they adopted it, but that's not where it like originated. So like originated in South America. So when they were
originated in North Dakota,
John Langstrom, he did it first. So northern Peru and eastern Ecuador, they ran into the Giveron people, which includes the Shuar, Achuar, Hambisa, and Aguaruna tribes from both Ecuador and Peru. Those were the tribes that were living in the Amazon jungle in that general area between the countries because, they didn't have any borders when they originally went into that jungle and started living their lives.
Yeah.
So these tribes would fight over the same stuff that every human fights over even today: land, resources, hunting grounds. And in the wake of these many conflicts, there were bodies and bodies with heads. So after an enemy had fallen, the victor would decapitate their enemy and bring the head back to their village to make a tansas. I think it's a silent T. So I'll say sansas, a.k.a. a shrunken head. So the purpose of the creating of sansas's was not just for decoration or craftsmanship, but in reality, these tribes believed the purpose of shrinking a head of a slain individual was to acquire the soul of the slain person. This would give the person who wears the head additional power and protection against suffering the same fate. So they're basically just like talismans. I mean,
yeah.
I feel like we talked about, I can't remember if it's like Irish or, actually, I don't even know. What's the culture that wore like ears? Like ears on a string type shit.
Wasn't that the Vikings?
It might have been the Vikings. That's why I'm not really 100% sure, but this is taking place with like a bunch of cultures. Some people cut off a piece of the person they killed and they would wear it. Other people would like take a bite out of their heart or like eat them because they believed they obtained their power if they ate them. But this was kind of like a talisman that people would wear around their waist to show that not only they were a good fighter, but it would also have like religious protection powers. It'd be like, I can't die if I'm wearing this shrunken head.
Okay.
Which is pretty, I just think it's pretty dope to just like walk around with a shrunken head on your waist.
Yeah.
Am I the only one?
Yeah. Apparently the Vietnamese wore ear necklaces.
Oh, maybe it was that.
But I could have sworn it was like the Vikings did that too.
Could have been like teeth.
Oh,
or
you know what? I
ears.
think we talked about one specific.
Scalps.
I think there was like one specific Viking warrior, like war chief, who did that. I think we talked about him once.
Irago. What's his name? Irago.
Irago.
Irago. So after a head was shrunken, the Tansit. I can't say this Santos were worn around the waist, showing prowess in combat. So the process of this is pretty interesting, and it's not everybody can do it. It takes a lot of practice. So the process of creating a shrunken head begins with removing the skull from the neck. We all knew that. Come on. An incision is made in the back of the ear, and all the skin and flesh is peeled from the cranium. Which is so funny because not funny. That's not funny. But I always for some reason, I was like, oh, they probably just put it in something and the whole thing shrinks. I'm like, why the fuck did I think bone would shrink down at all?
Yeah, I always thought, jar of vinegar, just dunk it in for a week.
Yeah, and it's like the opposite of the hand that you put in the water and it grows, or the alien, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, put it in the shrink. So they would actually just peel all the flesh from the cranium. Red seeds were placed underneath the nostrils and lips and were sewn shut. The mouth is held together with 3 palm pins. The classic, boom, they stapled the mouth together, and that was just, I think they did that so the head wouldn't talk. They're like, we don't want this.
Yeah, no chit chat.
Yeah, don't saying shit to me, Mimir. So the fat from the flesh of the head was removed. Then a wooden ball is placed under the flesh to keep the form. The flesh is then boiled in water and has been saturated with a number of herbs containing tannins. The head is then dried with hot rocks. Fuck.
Lava rocks, baby.
Okay, well, I'll give you this. You could cook a head, but not a pizza. So dried with hot rocks and sand while molding it to retain its human features. The skin is then rubbed with charcoal ash, and decorative beads may be added to the head as well. In the head shrinking tradition, it is believed that coating the skin in ash keeps the musak, or avenging soul, from seeping out. So they still believe that the soul was within the head, the person resided within the head.
Okay.
And that's why they also close the mouth. It's like, oh, I want to keep you on my hip to retain your power, but I don't want you cursing me. So I'm going to shut you up. I'm going to sew your eyes shut, sew your mouth shut, basically. And just kind of block it in with some ash, I guess, which is interesting. So, I mean, the whole process is very interesting.
Yeah,
Nothing I would do, but, just not my cup of head. So, it was a very delicate process to shrink heads in the first place. And if you boiled them too long, all the hair would fall out. And if you pulled them out too early, the skin would not hold its form. So there was a craftsmanship and a process. And they would actually practice on non-human heads to perfect their craft. But we'll get to that in a second.
Don't tell me it's monkeys.
No, it's actually worse. So, like I said, Westerners saw them tiny little heads and were like, I gotta get this shit for my kid for Christmas. So they started to buy them as souvenirs. And in the 1930s, a shrunken head sold for $25 to $330. And that's today's dollars.
Okay.
So it's probably fucking a nickel.
Yeah.
Here's a shiny coin. Just bling, flick it off your thumb.
Mm-hmm.
But in fact, they were so popular and lucrative that head peddlers learned a new profession, started trading in fake shrunken heads made from the heads of not monkeys, David.
Dogs.
No, not dogs.
Cats.
Not cats. What's in the Amazon? It's a friendly creature that does not deserve to have its head taken from it.
Capybara. Tapir.
Sloths.
Easy catch.
It is an easy catch.
Yeah.
So they use sloth heads for numerous reasons. The first is people trained on how to shrink heads by using sloth heads as practice, like we just discussed. Second, if you killed a relative, you were banned from taking their head, so you would wear a sloth head on your waist in its place. I don't really fully understand the why they wouldn't take a relative head, but I think they're just I mean, even if like your uncle was acting a fool,
Yeah.
and you had to fucking give him a quick knife to the neck.
Yeah, a nice
They
short
still did-
haircut.
Maybe it was just like too like, you're wearing like uncle's head on your waist. It's like probably literally a little too close to home. So I
Yeah.
think they're just like, yeah, you killed a guy and you killed a guy in a good way where you're showing prowess, but you can't wear uncle on your waist. So they would put a sloth head there. And third, if you were unable to take a fallen victim's head in the heat of battle, because you can't always just stop and start sawing, you would once again use a sloth head as a placeholder. So if a sloth head wasn't available at all, but you wanted to make a fake, fuck, you're right. Some used monkeys or goat skin and shaped it to make it look like a human head. So they would take monkey skin, not like the heads, but they take monkey skin or goat skin and then
A
just,
monkey
like,
ass.
They No, they didn't take the ass. That's much harder to form. I've tried.
Okay.
But they would just like shape it in the form of like a little nose and some eyes and eyebrow over like that wooden ball thing. So
Yeah.
So I said this is like when the guy 3D printed all those fake guns and sold them to the city.
Ghost guns.
Yeah, and just like those guns, telling the difference between real and fake can be hard. And in fact, one researcher claims that most shrunken heads on display at museums, including the American Museum of Natural History, are actually fakes and not real. So you have to be very careful when you're buying your shrunken heads.
Just to be clear, the guy that sold those 3D printed guns, they weren't supposed to be replicas of real guns. They were supposed to be 3D printed guns.
Yes, true.
So
but
it wasn't fake.
I guess you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Because like people would be able to tell like, but can you shoot a ghost gun?
Yeah.
How?
I think they're good for one bullet.
Oh, actually?
Yeah.
I was going to say, wouldn't they just like explode in your hand?
Yeah, probably, but
Yeah, but sometimes if you go into battle with a monkey skinned fake head on your waist, your
Bad
waist
juju.
will explode.
yeah.
You have one swing with your knife and then your hip explodes.
Yep.
It's not great. So I was gonna say, okay, and don't forget if there's something unethical or illegal going on. Wait, did I skip something? Oh yeah. So I said no, I did not. And don't forget if there's something unethical or illegal going on, like the trade of human heads, the Nazis are going to get involved. And that brings us to the Nuremberg trials of World War II, or after World War II, I should say, where the Nazis were put on trial for their crimes. So during the trial, a slew of evidence was brought to the table to show the heinous actions of the Nazis, and two of the items, so I mean, we've talked about this in the past, but the Nazis were like very much into the occult.
Oh yeah.
So they were like collectors in a way of like oddities and strange spiritual items,
Wacky doodads.
Yeah, I'd say gizmos, gadgets, and all sorts of wacky doodads.
Yeah, some good trinkets.
Yeah, exactly. So two of the trinkets they had, or items, being shrunken heads. So the story originally went that two Polish prisoners tried to escape a concentration camp during the war and were subsequently caught and killed by the Nazis. But after closer examination of the items after the trial, they were revealed to actually be two shrunken heads from South America that the Nazis had purchased in order to try and use the occult to gain power, which this is not the first time that had happened in Europe, because Vladimir Lenin of Russia did the same thing as well during the Bolshevik Revolution in order to gain any kind of edge over his opponents. So this was like not a common practice, but like I said, during I don't know when the Bolshevik Revolution was, but like during that time period, the occult, I mean, that was also during a lot of like the mystic shows where like people would go to theaters and be like, I can talk to the afterlife, and they'd like stick a vibrator in their ass and be like, oh, I am feeling weird.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of those anymore these days.
You see him at the what was it called? What was that sports bar?
Lusty's.
You can see it at Lusty's.
Lusty's Adventure.
Yeah. You
Or
go see
Lusty
someone-
Adventures.
So you go get someone possessed by the horniest ghost you've ever met.
Yeah. Sign me up.
So, but yeah, they were very much into that, and I guess war leaders, generals were like, yeah, there's definitely some credence to that, and they were just buying like oddities. I mean, we all know like Hitler and the Nazis tried to like do super soldiers,
Oh, yeah.
like make zombies basically. Like if you got shot, you would keep going, or if you died, they could resurrect you. So like the army would never dwindle. But
Yeah.
they basically ended up finding that in the form of what did Hitler take? He was on
Cyanide?
speed.
Oh, no.
I
He was
think
like,
on-
he was like methed out.
yeah, meth. It was like meth. So they would just give their soldiers like meth, and that would just make them like invincible to a certain point where like, you know, you'd get chunk blown out of your arm and just probably keep going.
Yeah, I think it's
Speed.
I think it's footage of the Olympics. There's footage of one of the Olympics, like when the Olympics happened, Hitler
Is he tweaking?
attended it, and yeah, he's spazzing out. He's tweaking hard.
Yeah. Like his like arms and legs are just like fucking.
Yeah.
I mean, no wonder he was like so aggro. I mean, every single thing he did was like like you just like going a mile a minute.
Yeah. Now he was methed out.
Yeah. Bad guy.
Yeah, not the best.
See what drugs do to you, kids? No one likes you no more.
Yep.
So another interesting fact was that only men were turned into shrunken heads, but that was only strictly due to the fact that they were
Afraid people are gonna have sex with the heads.
It's shrunken, David. I need a bigger head for this. David's like, it fits just right.
Snug like a glove.
What's that green ooze? Where that green ooze coming from? No, they stapled those lips shut. No, it was strictly due to the fact that they only used heads from enemies who had fallen in battle, which women did not partake in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Amongst those tribes. So the 1930s, the same decade, they started selling shrunken heads. The Ecuadorian and Peruvian governments also outlawed the sale of the items because they're just like, we kind of understand like religious, freedoms and being like, yeah, but like now people are just like buying them and it's not ethical and it's not, people could just like start. If that market blew up, people would just like the cartels would just be like, yeah, let's just cut off as many heads as we can and just like sell them,
Wipe out a small town.
Yeah, it's like the rhino horn. It's like, So, although I may never get an authentic shrunken head in my stocking, it's cool to know that we live in a world where weird and meaningful traditions existed at one point in time. And to tell you the truth, I would be lying if getting my head boiled after I die didn't cross my tiny little brain. So I say, long live the shrunken head. Would you want to be turned into a shrunken head?
I don't
I
care.
think-
When I'm dead, chop me up. I don't give a fuck.
Throw me in the trash.
Yeah, throw me in
Chop
the
you
trash.
up.
I don't care.
Put me in lava.
Yeah, you can just throw the remains in lava.
If there was like one thing you actually like, and it couldn't be burial or cremation or like they're like, we have to do something like kind of crazy with your body.
Yeah.
What would you go for? What was like, okay, what's the one thing that's like kind of cool?
I got a tie here, but honestly, it might be a three-way tie now that I think about it, because lava does sound cool. Just lob me into the lava. Let me, burn up.
Yeah.
So number one, launch me into space.
That would be kind of cool.
Just let me float around for eternity. And number two, Viking funeral.
Ooh, burn you
Put me
on like
put me on
shoot
a
you the
little
arrow.
boat. Yeah, put me on a little boat. Send me out to the water and shoot a flaming arrow on there.
You want a waterfall to Boromir style, right?
Nah, no, I want to roast.
I want to like
Put an
I
apple
want
in
like
my mouth.
I want like my burning canoe to like not go over a waterfall. I want it to like come up on the shore of like a summer camp.
I've got just the one in mind.
Imagine like you're just like this is how like they're playing the bagpipes or whatever, and they shoot the arrow, and
They're baptizing a kid. What the fuck is that rolling up?
Your boat starts burning as it like goes across the lake. All of a sudden, like these kids are just like playing in the water as like a burning corpse is just like floating past them.
In my youth, a couple of friends and I, none of us religious in any sense. One of us was Jewish, but this was a Christian camp. It is on a lake. And they would do like baptisms like in the lake, and the whole camp would be there. It's like super awkward for the kids, for the friends of me and my friends that were not raised in religion or anything.
Just getting dunked like an Oreo.
Yeah, and you know it's great for them. That's their thing. But being someone who's like not a part of that, like watching that was like crazily awkward. But last summer, my wife and I went camping, and she like booked a camping spot, and I forgot completely about it. And we went, and we were like directly across the lake from that camp. And I was like, holy shit, I went to camp there
no
when I was
way.
a little kid. Yeah.
You
That
go
would be where I
baptize
would
yourself?
send your body.
Those are holy. Who?
That's where I would send your body. You said you wanted to wash up at a camp or something. That would be
I
the
think you said
one.
her body. I was like, David.
No, I wouldn't admit to that on the podcast, you know? She's at a holiday party right now.
She took the boat out by herself, and I told her, don't bring that lighter. Don't bring that lighter. She wouldn't listen.
Don't wrap yourself up real tight and lay down on a tiny little boat with a lighter.
She always loved to sleep in a big bale of hay in the boat. Why is she both smoking cigarettes?
Told her to leave the sword behind.
Not
I
the
do feel like
sword.
that is also mandatory to be sent out, you know, like gripping like a big axe or a sword.
Oh yeah, you got to have some kind of weapon with you.
Yeah.
And then it sinks to the bottom of the lake, and then somebody finds it later, and then your powers possess them, and you get to relive. That's cool. I would also, another real fun option is taxidermy.
Yeah.
You know,
But it's
got
got to be scary. You got to be in like an aggressive.
Yeah, like on my knuckles.
Yeah.
Like a high knuckle.
Okay.
Not like a low knuckle. Not like
yeah, but the high knuckle, like a
the
gorilla.
high knuckle. Yeah, like a gorilla, and then I'm like kind of like showing my teeth.
Yeah.
You know, I just want
the
them to clothe
eggplants
me.
hanging out.
That's the thing. I just kind of want them to clothe me because I know they're gonna do me a little dirty, right? It's like they got to put something in there to make it like, you know.
Yeah. I feel like along with that, you should be requested to be placed in like a small town gas station that has one of those walk-in coolers for beer. Like the beer cave. You could be in there.
Yeah. Ooh, on the ceiling.
Install some lights in your eye socket.
You could do like the Spider-Man pose when he's like hiding from his mom, but like on the
yeah.
ceiling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Eggplant hanging down low.
Yeah, but make it really long so like
Bop
people
their
are
heads
like,
on it.
Yeah. They bonk themselves on it. You got bonked.
Let's make a pinky promise via video chat. Whichever one of us goes first, the other one has to shrink the other one's head.
Okay. I'm like arguing with your family. I'm like, you don't get it.
You didn't hear it. They agreed. Pinky promised virtually.
I have video evidence. I have audio evidence. Anyway, that's the whole
We've got
story of
13
Shrunken.
witnesses. They heard the episode.
Amen.
All right,
All right.
Delvin. I wrote this like 2 weeks ago, so let's see how much I remember. Today we're going to talk a little more about war, because I think my last story was about war, was it not?
You love war, dude.
Wacky shit happens in war, you know. Your story was kind of war related.
Yeah.
So, but this time around, the enemy might be the last thing you suspected. And this is the Battle of
Asbestos.
Ramree Island. It's not asbestos.
That's not the okay. Ramree Island. Where is this Ramree?
Well, the Battle of Ramree Island, also known as Operation Matador, took place from January 14th to February 22nd in 1945 during World War II.
Oh, we do got some World War II connections on both these.
Yeah. Ramree Island was part of the then Arakan. Just kind of awkward Arakan.
Anakin?
But today it is named the Rakhine State.
Where is this?
This island is 520 square island. Oh, hold on. I'll get to where it's at.
Wait, you came up with a new measurement? Square Island.
No, I saw this island is in a number.
How many
so
square
I thought it was-
island is your apartment?
Probably half of an island.
Damn,
An island square, a square island.
He's doing good.
So this island is 520 square feet.
That's not very big.
No, it's not. I think when I wrote this, I fucked up. But square miles, square miles. That sounds right. We're gonna say it's miles.
I would love
I forgot
to see a
to add.
fight.
I didn't add in the measurement in here.
Who wants to see a war inside of a New York apartment?
That would be actually pretty cool.
That'd be fucking crazy.
Get Jet Li in there.
He'd be on the ceiling like Spider-Man, bonking people with his wiener.
So, yeah. So then the island, the average width being 490 feet. So it's not like super big. Like it's big enough, but it's not like a huge island.
That's what I tell him.
The island sits about 70 miles south from what we know today as Sitwe.
Yeah, I know that today.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is that?
Don't worry about it.
Why'd
I
you
don't know.
choose the? You chose. You're like, oh yes. Do you know where this is? It's by this thing. You also don't know where it is.
Yeah. I wrote this in like 10 minutes. Come on.
But like, where is Sitway? You have to tell me a little bit more than that.
It is.
Do you have like a general idea where you think this might be?
It's in Neymar.
Stop. That sounds like the fake people from Black Panther 2.
No, it's Neymar.
It's an underwater civilization.
Yeah. No, that's their leader. Come on, yeah.
Oh yeah.
It is Burma.
Dude, come on. I've heard of.
It's
Burma,
close to
at least.
Bangladesh. Does that work for you?
And it's still not really, but I'm just because I'm uncultured.
It's close to Thailand.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, you're familiar with that one. So during the Japanese invasion of Burma in the early 1940s, which I believe was 42, the island had been captured. The battle started with Operation Matador, an amphibious assault to capture the strategic port of Kayu Kaipu at the north end of Ramree Island and the airfield near the port. And I gotta say, for me, one of my favorite military assaults is amphibious.
What's your other? Name another one.
I do love a good dog fight.
Oh, like a
Fighter jets.
Yeah,
Fighter jets are cool.
Yeah.
And for absolutely no reason at all, for some reason, amphibious battles or like assaults feel nostalgic to me.
Wait, when they say amphibious, do they mean like they're sending like I know this is 1942, so they're not doing like Navy SEALs crawling up on the beach, but is that amphibious? I know that means water, but does that mean that they're having a naval battle, or does that mean they're assaulting from
the water?
Like from water, yeah, like going up on the land,
Yeah, from the water.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So during the assault, Allied troops were delayed when a motor launch and a landing craft had a whoopsie with a sea mine.
I'm sorry, but what are we fighting over right now?
The land, the island.
And who's fighting?
The Allies are taking on basically just the Japanese at this point.
Oh, okay. They have okay.
Yeah.
Did I miss that? I'm sorry. I'm just like really.
I mean, I said the Allied troops.
Okay, I just didn't know who exactly was. Okay, so they're trying to get a strategic airfield, correct? From that the Japanese have.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a good port, water port.
Oh, I love a good port.
Oh,
also, Cabernet.
Oh. So yeah, they got a little bit delayed, but the explosives did not do enough damage to stop them. And at 9:52 a.m., they arrived ready for battle to take on the Japanese soldiers. The Allies quickly secured the beach, and I think it took them like 3 hours to push them back and take the beach over. The
They
following...
loved taking beaches in that fucking war.
They really did.
Everybody was like, "Oh, my beach." I get it. It's oceanfront property. I get it, guys. It's expensive.
Well, yeah. I mean, realize planes weren't as common, especially like passenger planes. So like boats were the main way to like transport weapons, ammo, soldiers. Like there weren't as many planes to carry cargo back then. So boats were kind of king. So
Not only that, but like if you want to like drop people in, you can do that, but they have to be like specialty trained and like airmen who are like jumping out of planes.
It's not as easy as jumping off a fucking boat.
Yeah, you just what are those U-boats that just like flip down and then you just get lit up?
Yeah,
Oh my
I
God.
believe that's what I was referring to when I said motor launch
Oh, okay.
boats. I think that was another name for them.
Okay.
So they secured the beach. The following day, the 4th Indian Infantry Brigade landed and occupied the boy, I think spell check changed this one on me.
Wait, now India's involved?
Yeah. They were part of World War II.
Were they?
Yeah.
Who were they fighting for?
I think they were on our side. Or were they?
We're about to find out, aren't we? Who are they? Finish the story. Who are they fighting?
Hold on. Because for some reason, I feel like India and England fought each other a lot.
Oh, I mean, England
Or
was
maybe they were...
constantly
All right.
colonizing.
Who were the allies in World War II?
Why don't you just say, was India an ally?
So it's
in
France,
World War-
Great Britain, United States, Soviet Union. Hold on. They were
Yeah,
not...
they switched. Yeah, they switched
Oh,
sides.
that's right. And a lesser extent, China. So maybe the 4th Indian Infantry Brigade were Americans.
Wait, did they switch sides? I think they were always fighting the Germans. Italy switched sides because the Germans got fucked up on the when they got frozen out in Russia.
It's wild how bad I am with World War II. I need to start figuring that shit out. So they were the British Indian Army.
Oh, well, because they probably had the colonies down there, so they're probably using Indian soldiers.
I don't know
to
if they
fight.
consisted of, native indigenous people. I think it was just a name. I think you're
see.
reading into it too much.
I don't think you're reading into it enough.
It doesn't matter. War is war.
Boom, roasted.
So yeah, they occupied the town, pushing the Japanese forces back. As more and more reinforcements arrived, the Allies started to go more inland, continuing the push of the Japanese soldiers further and further back as the 4th Brigade kept stationed at Kayukapuyu. That was the word I was trying to say earlier, but autocorrect changed it to something very different. This continued, and on February 7th, the 71st Indian Infantry Brigade, with supporting tanks, reached the town of Ramree, encountering a determined Japanese resistance. In 2 days, the town had fallen with Navy. It corrected it to Nancy. I was like, Nancy wasn't out there fighting, baby. With the Navy and the...
We got Nancy.
All you need is Nancy. So with the Navy and the 26th Indian Infantry Division concentrating on a blockade of the small streams on the east side of the island to prevent any Japanese soldiers from escaping with their lives. So basically, they're kind of pinning them. They've got the soldiers on land pushing them to the east, and then they got boats waiting for them on the east side of the island. This prompted Japanese airstrikes to attempt to eliminate the boats, trying to clear a way for the soldiers to escape. But unfortunately, there was a third team in this battle that no one expected.
Oh, this is the lead he buried, everyone. Let's see who's the unlikely villain. Villain?
Just another
Ally Axis?
They're on neither team. They're not. They're doing their
Oh.
own fucking thing, and that's Mother Nature, baby.
Crickets or something.
With
Locusts.
the increased spike of population, being that the Japanese soldiers invaded the island, there quickly became a problem of not enough food on the island. So the Japanese soldiers did what made sense. They started hunting the deer and other small game on the island. But there is one small thing they forgot about. And it's something that has lived on this earth long before man crawled out of the mud puddles.
Worms.
And that's the food chain.
Oh.
As you take away one important part of the food chain, the predators
shit.
must find a replacement. And the massive population of saltwater crocodiles were hungry.
Oh, fuck.
Now, when the deer went missing, the crocodiles went into a state called torpor, which is almost like hibernation, where they just kind of float around preserving energy, making up for their lack of food. Now, imagine you are a big old 20-foot long saltwater croc floating in a swamp, half asleep, just dying for your next meal, just waiting. And then, boom, explosions and gunfights start popping off. You wake up, and suddenly these pretty big, two-legged meat things come running directly at your face. What are you going to do?
Chomp.
Chomp away. That's right. As the Japanese soldiers were running for their lives into the jungle and swamplands, bullets flying past them from the Allied forces, they were unknowingly running straight into an army of hungry crocodiles, and boy, did they feast.
Oh, wow. That must have been such a bad way to go.
Yes, which from the Japanese perspective sounds like the most terrifying experience ever, as you're dodging bullets and people are getting snapped on and rolled up on each side of you. Yeah, that sounds like hell. It is believed during this event, over 1,000 Japanese soldiers were eaten by the local saltwater crocodiles.
Oh my god.
The Allies sent rescue boats around to pick up any of the soldiers surrendering soldiers to take them in. But it was reported that not a single soldier survived.
Oh my god.
And this event is known as the Ramree Massacre, the most humans killed by animals in a single event known to man.
Yeah, 1,000. I thought you were gonna be like, a couple,
20.
like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay.
Estimated 1,000.
Oh my god! Imagine how many crocodiles were on that fucking island.
Yeah, and this just goes to show, at the end of the day, nature always wins.
You're not wrong.
So
a
lot of people speculate that not all of them were eaten by crocodiles, that plenty of them were shot and killed, and then the crocodiles eventually got to them after eating the ones running. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they reported that I guess quote unquote rescue boats, the cop boats going to take prisoners, they didn't find a single person.
Yeah, I mean, whether it be the alligator getting you or them causing a tire, what's that thing called when you in football when you do like the tire drill, where like you put your feet in the tires?
Yeah, I don't know what the name for that is. Quick feet.
They basically created one of those things with the crocodiles and just be like, yeah, you're gonna be slower. Like whether it be
and they're running through a swamp, so they're not moving very fast either.
Yeah, whether the gators got them or like the gators slowed them down, so like the other soldiers could shoot them. They still had like a huge,
Yeah. Would you rather get
Christ.
shot or snapped on and rolled up?
Shot.
Shot without. What if you got?
Shoot me.
What if you got shot like in the throat and you're alive for like a minute, but then you got snapped and rolled up? That would be the worst.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I'd say that's
the worst of both worlds.
I was about to say but also would you bleed out faster if you just got shot instead of just torn apart by a crocodile completely healthy?
I feel like you'd have to get shot in the head to die quick enough for a croc,
Maybe
not
you're
to.
right. Yeah, and then you just have a stomach wound where it's like, you're getting your leg ripped off. Oh my god.
Some of those
Ugh.
fuckers were 20 feet long.
I know what I'm gonna have a nightmare about tonight.
Crocs.
Yeah, I had a weird dream last night. Nothing really crazy happened, but I moved into an apartment and my 2 roommates were Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Javier Bardem.
Sometimes I forget they're different people.
Well, they both had to pay rent.
Yeah. Were they behind?
No, they
haven't
were
been
good,
in much lately.
They were good roommates actually, but it's funny because like they lived in like a college like house with me.
Yeah.
And
You guys played beer pong?
and they were like them. Like they were like their age now them.
Yeah.
And they were just like, I'm like, oh man, I really liked you in like No Country for Old Men. He's like, oh thank you. And like Jeffrey Dean Morgan was like, hey, I'm Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I'm Negan.
I would have told Javier. I would like, hey, I tried to watch Mother on a plane once. That was a bad idea.
I think I had a panic attack. What the fuck was that?
Like, every 5 seconds, I was looking over to see if anybody was seeing the shit I was watching.
Talk about running through a swamp full of crocodile. That's what I felt like. Good lord.
Man. I almost got snapped by a crocodile once.
What, really?
Yeah. I was in Mexico, and there was a cenote. Is that what they're called?
The hole with the
Yeah.
lake in the the little pond in the bottom. Pond.
Yeah,
Jesus.
and I there's a little rope swing, and I jumped in it, and and my wife and I were swimming around, having fun, and we got out and we're hanging out, and we noticed people like looking and pointing at something, and we're like, "What are you guys talking about?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, there's a crocodile over there." And there was just a crocodile like 10 feet from us the whole time we're in the water. We had no idea. He was
Fuck
chilling.
that. Fuck that.
Big fucker, just chilling. Guess they weren't hungry.
Oh.
Yeah,
They don't like stinky.
that could have been a bad vacation.
They're like, that guy's got a dead leg. Don't eat him. That's a stinky ass leg.
That's probably what saved us, honestly.
Yeah.
The water
rot
was tainted.
Leg. The leg was rotting. Anyway, thank you guys. So I think that's it. I think that's all we have for you today. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love telling you these stories, and we love when you stick around and listen. If you guys want any more information, you go to Camp Strange Podcast on Instagram. Click the link in bio for any merch and wherever you want to listen to us. You could rate, review, and subscribe to us on whatever you listen to us on. But please review us. Please do it. We would appreciate it.
Ooh.
I'm kind of doing a Longmont Potion Castle.
Oh shit, I haven't listened to that in a long time.
Yeah, that's a good one. Those prank calls are good.
I'm not a prank call guy, but he does it for me.
He does it. He's like, I found blueberries in my guitar case.
Frozen blueberry.
Frozen blueberries. Anyway, if you guys want to send us an email, you can send it to campstrangepodcast@gmail.com and blah, 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 whatever. Who cares? What else do we got, David?
I got a sleeping dog in the office. She passed out. She was a good girl. She didn't make a peep, though. She doesn't make noises, though.
Well, I got a shit salad.
Oh, I got a couple empty beer cans.
I got a wig full of dust mites.
I got a battle axe made out of popsicle sticks.
I got too many kids on this bus.
I got
overcapacity.
I got 3 gallons of hydraulic oil.
I have vanilla flavored cigarellos.
I got a crane. They don't work no more.
I got a bird and it's a crane.
Oh. All right, I got a blue herring.
I got some blue hair. Liberal.
I got blue meth.
I got a pizza up on the roof. Now we're just like kind of doing stream of consciousness right now.
I got a baby that only speaks Italian.
Ooh. I have Oppenheimer on Blu-ray.
I got a
with
gumball.
DVD commentary.
I got a gumball machine full of dead bugs.
I have a hole in the drywall where I lost a video game.
I got a bed that's made out of sheet metal.
I have gangrene foot.
I got 2 toes.
I got too many toes.
Can I borrow some?
I give you some.
I got
Anyway.
an ear made out of Cheetos.
I got tiny little people living in Walmart.
I got a bobcat flying a skyrocket.
I have a cootie catcher with full of herpes.
I got a
Cooties.
lake. I got a lake of Kool-Aid.
I got shin splints.
I got a flashlight that makes the room darker.
I got a ooh. I want to have something that clever. That's a good one. I have soda pop that takes air out of you.
I've got a loan taken out from Riff Raff.
Okay, we'll end there. Anyway, David, do you have anything to say before we officially get out of here?
Happy holidays. I know that it's probably gonna be 2024 next time you guys hear from us.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna be gone for like 2 weeks, so I don't know when we'll get back to our regularly scheduled program. But we already fucked it up this last week, so
yeah,
we'll see what's going
works
on.
better though because you're leaving, so like we wouldn't have been able to do one next week. So
Yeah, true.
So
It
it's
is what
fine.
it is.
It's
It is
fine.
what it is.
Yeah.
Listen to an old episode where we were funnier.
Listen to an old episode when we had better topics to talk about.
When we had whimsy and not just depression and age. Anyway, okay. I think that's all we got. Did I already ask you to say something?
Yeah, I said happy holidays.
Oh, it's a dementia in my brain that's getting me.
Yeah. See you guys next year.
Anyway,
I cracked myself up.
don't forget to stay strange.